Hello and welcome to this episode of Stage of the Game.
Woo!
Yay!
Yay! We're doing stuff.
So, this week in the past, we promised we wouldn't talk about politics again because we
We
did a whole
lied!
episode to that. Yes, we lied, but there's a good reason we lied because people are
Liars.
stupid. People are fucking stupid, and we need to call them out on their bullshit. So we're gonna spend an
Yeah.
entire episode
In
doing that.
our small little public forum.
Yes.
Yes.
Time to scream into the void.
Yes.
I mean, that's
So-
all we're ever doing, really.
Yeah.
Last week, there was a school shooting in Santa Fe, Texas,
Mhm.
and 10 people were killed, 8 students, 2 faculty members, and obviously it's a huge tragedy. The shooter was a current student there, 17 years old. Like, apparently, he was at one point a member of the football team. Apparently, well liked, very nice. That's what people are saying about him.
Until recently, is what
Yes.
I've heard. Yeah. Yeah. So.
But obviously, it's a tragedy, and it's like, and people are wondering why this happened. And every time this happens, as we've made since before on the show, a big scapegoat that comes out is video games. People saying video games are violent aspects of it, and until actually this administration, it's always been something that was mentioned but never super focused on. But now the lieutenant governor of Texas literally came out and said that video games were to blame. Let me pull up what he actually said.
He said a lot of stupid things.
He said a lot of stupid
in the
things.
wake of this.
One thing he said is that we need to have less entrances and exits in the school so they have less places to get into, which is
then
bullshit
there'll be
because it's a
a
fucking
fire.
fire code. Because then if you want people to die, then you just put them in with no exits, and
going-
they're all gonna fucking trample to death and die and burn to death. So fuck you, you stupid piece of shit. You know nothing. Sorry.
They're
that's the
going
beginning
to
of this
ban
rant.
doors before they ban guns.
This is going to be very anger fueled, and we might be very loud.
That was well
and
put, Tony.
Cursing.
Just
So, yeah, anger. This is a very
I-
anger fueled podcast episode.
and before we go anywhere, I'm currently playing a violent video game while we're doing this, and I'm fine. So.
Reasonable Tony
As
is.
someone who frequents violent video games, Tony, indulge the people here as to what my nickname was at McCarter. What you guys? the rest of
Sweet
the-
summer child.
Yes, this is what they called me. And I play.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
I play many violent video games and listen to very violent music, but I'm also like a very
That's true.
sweet,
I know,
innocent,
he's the
naive
most
child
passive human
in
being.
the minds of at least my other interns. I was.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
Cupcakes for every play he works on, and they're themed.
He
to the
literally,
play.
he literally
Okay.
makes cupcakes.
So this
They're
is what
very-
the well, the things he blamed among video games and video games indoors is what he blamed on. He blamed removing religion from schools, abortions, and broken families.
Can we talk about how separating religion from schools is like the founding ideal of our whole nation? Just like we're throwing that out there. Separation of church and state, motherfuckers. Can't with that. Can't with that.
But when he specifically said about violent games, and this is what was on an interview, he said, "That." Sorry, the clip from the article that I'm looking is just playing, and now it's playing in my ears right now.
I'm hearing things.
I'm hearing his voice, and I want to strangle him. The video games issue we've got to address in this country, based on all the research that we. Okay, you need to shut up now.
Based
Shut
on all
up.
the research. Yeah, what?
Based on
Cite-
all the research
cite
we
it
have
to me.
done, 97%, according to psychologists and psychiatrists, of teenagers view video games, and 85% of those video games are violent. And what these games showing them how to do, and what are these games showing them how to do? Kill people. The vast majority of psychiatrists and psychologists will tell you it leads them to become numb to violence, to have less empathy to their victims and more aggressive. Does that impact everyone who views them? No, but it's obviously part of the problem. You know what else desensitizes people to violence? Watching their fucking friends get murdered in front of their fucking eyes, you piece of shit. That's what fucking desensitizes them to violence, because they're watching this on the news. They're watching people of their age getting gunned down in their schools. And that's what fucking desensitizes them to this bullshit.
I love Owen.
Yeah. And he's right.
Yes.
Of course.
obviously it's absurd. I mean, we're the only nation that has this problem. And we're not the only nation that has video games. We're the only nation that has no fucking gun control.
Europe has video games. Australia has video games. But you know what?
And guess what? They have the
gun
same
control.
video games.
Canada has video games.
And it's not like we get the violent ones because we're the ones who want it. No, everyone gets the same game.
Japan is one of the most has one of the biggest video games industries, if not the biggest video game industry in the world, and they have one of the least gun deaths per capita also in the world, because they have gun control.
Gun control. Try it. Can we talk about the hypocrisy of the GOP? That's like, if we used gun control, it wouldn't work because people would just find a way to get guns anyway. And they're also like, if we make abortions illegal, we'll have less abortions.
Then why have
Look at
laws?
that. Look at their logic.
By their logic, why have laws? Why have laws? Let's fuck everything. Fuck it all. Why make murder illegal? Because people are going to do it anyway.
Yes, and they don't always have that stance, so they're ridiculous, and I hate them. And
Fun hypocrisy topic that I learned about just today, actually. So the new president of the NRA is
Oliver North.
Yes.
North.
An upstanding citizen of the United States.
Yeah.
Who pretty much...
An upstanding traitor.
Yeah. He's a terrible human being and should be in prison. But
who shouldn't be in prison in our current fucking government?
Yeah, well, he's not technically in the government this way. He was in the government.
Yeah, you're right, NRA. Well, those lobbyists.
But he's now the new president of the NRA, and in a recent speech he gave, he blamed video games and Ritalin for school shootings.
Oh, Ritalin, that's
here's a fun fact. Oliver North voiced one of the characters in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and helped to develop and promote the game.
Aw, snap.
Reviewers called it one of the most violent video games they'd ever seen, and that the blood pretty much washed over the screen.
That sounds awesome.
So, Oliver North,
fuck
you.
Fuck the whole NRA. The whole NRA has so much power. It's just an organization with so few members, but so much power in our government, and it's literally disgusting. All the people they control in the Republican Party.
The whole argument of the way to stop a bad guy with a gun is with a good guy with a gun sounds like someone who's trying to sell two guns.
Exactly,
yes,
because that's what it is.
Yeah. The gun
just
lobby
want to sell guns.
The NRA does no longer represents gun owners; they represent gun manufacturers, because that's who's funding them, and thus they're taking that money and buying up politicians.
Mm-hmm. And yes, go on, Tony.
Sorry, another fun fact that I'm going to throw in here while I continue to shoot aliens, not people. There have been more student deaths in America this year than military deaths.
Fun statistic.
More kids have died in schools than in active war zones.
Yeah, and what the GOP is basically saying is,
too bad.
Your kids are worth less than our guns.
Mm-hmm.
Because truly they are right now, and that's like so egregious and so despicable. I literally don't know how any of them wake up in the morning, let alone go to their bullshit offices and peddle more of this bullshit.
Yeah, I saw a comic the other day. It made a lot of sense. It was like a couple of angels up in heaven. They were just taking note of new arrivals. So the people down there keep sending their thoughts and prayers. Another one said, and their children.
Yeah, I saw that too. It was heavy.
Yeah, we're just going to keep praying that's going to happen instead of doing anything.
And
pray all you want, but you need to actually fucking change something, or else this is going to keep happening.
And an argument, especially just in a Judeo-Christian basis, it's God loves those who do it for themselves. Like that is like an actual teaching, at least in the Catholic Church, of you can't expect God to do everything for you. So
yeah, take that, religious people.
All these different little random religious facts that I can throw in. But
obviously we're saying a lot right now, but I'm gonna throw some actual statistics out that show why their arguments are kind of bullshit. And not actually not kind of bullshit, total bullshit. Sorry.
Speaking specifically to video games,
Yes.
right? Okay. Have at it.
Now, studies have shown that in the period after a hugely popular violent video game such as Grand Theft Auto is released, the rates of violent crime actually drop that would be otherwise expected. That's because so many people actually playing these video games and off the streets, committing crimes and doing violent acts or whatever. So like
that's
big games
cool.
like
I didn't
that.
know that.
Yeah.
The robbery's off. I need to beat this level. 2 more hours, bro. Yeah.
More statistics.
2 more levels, bro.
In 1998, the National Threat Assessment Center studied school shootings to create a profile of school shooters. Researchers found only 12% of school shooters showed an interest in violent video games. A more recent analysis of the 10 most violent shootings on school campuses since 1998 by Peter Langman, who studies the psychology of school shooters, found that only 20% of the killers played violent video games with any regularity. This contrasts the 70% of male high school students who play violent video games.
Facts.
So yeah,
I just like hearing Owen state facts. This is just fun.
Yeah, while they were pulling out statistics on all the numbers of people who were playing violent video games, and it is a lot. A lot of people play video games, and a lot of games would probably be deemed some kind violent in some way, sense, or form. I'd be interested to see what their definition of a violent video game is. If it's any video game that has a gun, or does it have to have blood and gore or anything like that?
I bet they're not defining it.
I have another one. Also, it's all rated. If you were under 17 years old, you're not allowed to have a game that is... You're not supposed to. They're not supposed to sell you a game that is mature. So their parents are the ones buying these violent games for them.
And you know what else?
So maybe it's a parenting
parents
thing.
Are the ones who are not keeping better control of their guns.
Yep.
Let's make them fucking accountable.
Yes.
I don't see why this isn't a thing. Why people who leave their children in a locked car on accident and the kid dies.
Go to jail.
They go to jail. It's child negligence.
Yes.
So a child gets into their parent's gun, shoots themselves, shoots another child, shoots a family member, whatever. Nothing happens. There's no crime committed. It's considered a tragedy, and thus it moves on. That's it. It was a freak accident.
It should be negligence. That's extremely negligent. Guns are weapons, deadly weapons.
And you know what?
Especially the ones we're allowed to have.
I bet almost 90% of them, if not more, of the parents of these children all said that they themselves are responsible gun owners. So please forgive me if I don't believe you when I say, well, I'm a responsible gun owner, so these shouldn't affect me. Fuck you, I can't take your goddamn word.
Yep. Nope. Sorry.
None. I mean, like, in our country not only doesn't have, significant gun control, we don't even have common sense gun control in place. Some of the reforms that Democrats were pushing for are literally like, if you're on a no-fly list, you can't buy a gun. You can't buy a gun without a background check. These are things we don't have. You can buy a gun without a background check. You can
buy a gun at a gun show.
Yes.
In
without
less
anything.
than 2 minutes.
Yeah, with no check or any sorts of anything. You could be underage. Nobody's gonna. It's so easy. We don't even have common sense gun laws in place. And the NRA has got Republican constituents so worked up that they think everything is an attack on their fundamental right to bear arms, which, may I remind you, was written hundreds of years ago when guns were not like they are today. You had to put that shit in and tamp that shit down, and that was like one shot, okay?
And because there was actual domestic, causes to maybe need a gun. Hey, the British might come back, so you can have your gun.
And to the people who are saying, well,
they did so soon. 40 years later, they came back. They said, hey, we're going to bring you back now.
And to that point, to the people saying, well, I need a gun in case the terrorists show up or if the government decides to come and, just take over. Are you that fucking stupid? Seriously.
Yes, they are.
It was
One,
actually
the government is not going to. The government isn't going to turn. One, it's Trump's government right now, so you voted for him.
If it was going to happen, it's now, and it's your fault.
Yeah.
But also, it was a comedian. It was Christopher Titus made a good point about this. He goes, "This is actually very fun and two-handed." He was like, "The people who would have to do it are the armed forces. Your brothers, your sisters, your family would have to be the ones to come take your guns." And that's not going to happen. And that requires so much. That was not going to happen. And it would require so much government organization. And our government can't even build a website. And I was like, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of fear mongering. There's a lot of misinformation. And it's just really sad that, like, the deaths of countless children are not enough to make this country reevaluate its actions.
Nope.
It's fucked up. And everybody please vote in the midterm elections so maybe we can change things. Don't stay at home. I don't care if you're in a blue
Texas
state.
Just so I could vote against Ted Cruz.
You would never get residency in time. But ditto.
I'm registering to vote in Colorado next week. So
nice.
Because their DMV is only open during weekdays, and I'm a teacher. So it's like, oh, right? Yeah, well, so I can't do that. So
those are the times I'm not free ever.
Oh, those exactly. But I was back and forth on whether I should do Pennsylvania or Colorado, and absentee in Pennsylvania or actually vote in Colorado, and I'm going to actually vote in Colorado.
Right on.
Because
it's always been easy for me. Always blue states. I live in California, Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey. So I'm voting absentee in New Jersey, which is like the most off blue.
You're gonna vote against Leonard Lance, though.
Damn straight I am. I'm gonna vote. I can't wait to vote against Leonard Lance. I've hated him for a long time, and I think we actually can get him out of office.
A mutual hate is much stronger than a mutual love.
Yeah. Well. New Jersey is predicted to maybe be the bluest state in the country.
The bluest of the blue. Yeah.
It's possible
other than California.
On California.
No, it's predicted that there's a chance that there's a chance that every seat in the state House of Representatives and every congressional seat for New Jersey will be blue. There's a good chance that happens.
I'm gonna try to help make that happen.
I was gonna say there's a chance that the GOP won't even be able to put a governor candidate up because California is weird like that, where it's the people who get the top two amounts of votes. It doesn't matter what party they are.
Well, actually, the problem with that is there's there's like at least 4 counties where there's only 2 Republicans running, and there's like 5 or 6 Democrats running. So it's a big worry among the Democrats right now that like it's gonna completely split the vote. That so much so that there's not even gonna be a Democrat on the ticket.
Yeah, it could go either way.
Yes, but
depends on how mean they are to each other.
Yes, please vote if you care about this issue.
Vote.
Please vote.
That's what we can do. That's most of what we can do right now. Do it. It's easy. You feel great. You get a sticker. And then you can look down at everybody who doesn't have a sticker. And
I never got a sticker. Ever.
Really? I always insist on getting a sticker.
Mine didn't give them away. Mine didn't have them.
Once they had stickers, but they didn't offer me one. And I hate talking to people, but I was like, can I have a sticker? And I got one. It was great. I want stickers. But you should also vote because it's the right thing to do, and literally our fundamental freedoms hang upon it in ways hitherto unforeseen.
Yes. If you like video games at all, if you're a casual gamer, if you really like video games like we do, this issue matters because this is going to keep happening. These shootings are going to keep happening. As much as I hate to say it, they're going to keep happening until things.
Well, we're not changing anything, so of course they are. They have been.
Video games are going to keep being a scapegoat. And you know what? It's probably more likely that something's going to happen with the video games industry before anything happens with the gun industry. Because the video games have very little power in Washington. Video game lobbies. Yeah. As popular as video games are, and they're becoming more and more popular every day, growing bigger audience. Unfortunately, they don't have the pressure that the NRA does.
Well, nobody does. Fucking NRA. That shit is bullshit. I would say that restricting our ability to make whatever video games we want, though, is a violation of our free speech, and I would get civil rights lawyers on that. But hopefully it won't come to that. Hopefully we'll all vote, and we can just move in a positive direction, please and thank you.
Please.
No.
Please.
I actually thought we were going to rant for like an hour, but it's only been 20 minutes. But
And honestly, I think... do you have any more stats? Because you can just...
Nah, those are the stats that I pulled up. I'm sure I could find more if I dug, but...
I think we've
made our point.
Yeah. I'm going to say, I think we've made our point.
Vote.
Hey, yes.
Go vote! For the love of God.
Hey, thank you for listening to this rant, and we'll try not to do it again in the future, but if people keep slinging bullshit,
we're gonna fire back. Damn straight we are.
In our tiny little public forum.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks again. We'll see y'all next week.
Goodbye!